Hi everyone, very good morning and good evening. So happy new year everyone. So let's start the session. Just a minute, let me share my screen. Okay guys. So in the last session what we have done, so we discussed about the how to work with a cloning implementation, right? Now, so today, so what we are going to discuss is we will see so how to work with our data masking implementation. So before going to the data masking, right? So let's understand what exactly data masking is. And so when we are going to, when it is required. So we'll call it as a data masking. So same thing, we used to call that as dynamic data masking. Dynamic data masking. When it is coming to data masking, right? What we are going to do is we are going to hide personal identifiable information. For example, let's say if you observe any data here in any of the tables. Now, if you let's observe this, we have a table here in this particular table. Now, so you can able to see the data, right? So employee salary, employee's age, and then employee's location. But so your so user said that so I don't wanted to hide, I don't wanted to display this particular employee salary information to every person, to every person. So I wanted to hide this information. Basically we wanted to hide this information for specific user, for specific user. Then data masking will come into the picture. So which kind of information we are going to hide here? This kind of information, any like sensitive information. So sensitive information like personal identifiable information, we used to call PII information. Used to call that as a PII. So personal identifiable information we are going to hide when it is coming to this, right? So if you observe what exactly personal identifiable information, you can able to see this here. So just a minute, let me open it in different window. Now observe this one. So any person account number like a personal full name, biometric information, social security numbers, PAN cards, Aadhaar cards, and then address, vehicle number, date of birth, right? The face recognition. So medical health plan. So about that particular person, the mobile number, website information. So and then location information, the phone and fax details. All these are what we used to call personal identifiable information. Based on this we can understand about something about that particular person, right? This kind of information they don't want to display it to the every person. They wanted to display it to only the authorized persons, only authorized persons. In this particular situation our data masking will come into the picture. So when the data masking is coming into the picture, right? So here we are going to restrict the data. We are going to restrict the data based on roles, based on different roles. Here, if you observe, default roles it is available here. When we created our account, these are the default roles which it has been created, like account admin, organization admin, public, security admin, system admin, user admin. These are the 6 different roles by default it is available, right? And account admin is a super user. You can able to see all this information here. But when you are working in any project or organization, you will not have this information. So you won't see all these specific roles here. It will be customized roles based on the requirement. Let's say developer, business user, tester, or business analyst, whatever it may be, right? So now first, so when it is coming to the masking, right? So we have to follow 2 steps. One is creating masking policy. First step is creating masking policy. First one is creating masking policy. Next one is applying this masking policy. Applying masking policy to specific column. To column. Column. These are the two steps. And before creating a masking policies, right? So we required specific roles. When you are creating a masking policy, we are going to create a masking policy for the roles. We are going to create a masking policy for roles. So now we need to understand how to create a specific role, how that role has to be assigned to the specific user, what are the permissions we required. If you observe here the default role which we are logged in with account admin role, this particular role, so for this particular user, Snowflake 8 user can able to access this role and this user can able to access all the databases here and virtual warehouse and every schema, and then within the schema all the tables, right? Within the schema all the tables they can able to still access. Now if you wanted to create any specific role, how to create it, and then we will see all those information. So when it is coming to the role creation, always, so generally it should be in a account admin role. With account admin privileges only you can able to create a role. Other privileges you cannot, other roles so which you are able to see this, right? They cannot able to create, only account admin. Now so let's observe this. We will create some roles, and then so for that particular specific roles we will assign it to the specific user. This particular user should have access to the specific role. Then only when we logged in with this particular user they can able to access, otherwise not. Now let's come. So first in this today's session we will concentrate on roles creation and then giving the permissions, so for the access rights. Now so let's create a roles. If you wanted to go with a different schema you can create a different schema, otherwise let's create a role within the public schema itself. So anything, so we will connect it to our class database. Now it's connected to class database, public schema. This is now what we are going to do. Creating role analyst, creating role business. We are creating role developer. All together we wanted to run. Now let's run this. We can able to run. Now the roles, analyst role, business role, developer role we created. This role, once it is created, can you able to see it here? See this one? Can you able to see it? No, right? Because this role we have created, but we didn't assign this role to specific user. This Snowflake 8 is the user, right? Snowflake 8 user we didn't assign. If you wanted to assign it to the specific Snowflake 8 user, so then only if you assign, then only this user can able to access these roles, otherwise they are not. Now so let's observe this. To assign that, what we have to do is, now let's come to this. So we are going to assign that specific role by using this grant role. So the role name to specific user, grant role, the role name, like business analyst and developer role to user. What is the user here? Snowflake 8 is the user. Now observe this. This is the Snowflake 8. The next step, we are assigning this role to this particular user. If you don't assign, this user cannot able to access the specific roles which we have created. Observe this one. Every role we are assigning grant role, role name to specific user. We are so giving the permission to access these roles for this particular user. Now observe this one. We have given the permissions. All the roles we have given. Now if you observe here, see this one you can able to see. Let's refresh it. Now observe this. See this one. Now you can able to see analyst, business and developer. All right. Now here, if it is a account admin, you can able to see all the databases, all the schemas and then tables, and then you can able to utilize the virtual warehouse. Now, the just a role we have created, the default role, any role we have created. So let's change it to the developer role, and then let's observe what are the default permissions it is having. Now, if you wanted to change, you can change it here by using this developer, or you can change it here also in the worksheet. When it is coming to this one, the role, observe this, you can able to change to developer. Come to the developer. Now it's changed. Now observe, when the role is developer, can you able to see anything other than the shared databases? The class database is not available, and then class test database, it is not available here. And at the same time, if you observe, see this one here. So what you observed here, so the virtual warehouse, do you have anything here? Virtual warehouse, see this, you are unable to select, right? You are unable to select the virtual warehouse. It means we don't have any permissions, right? So let's, for example, let's come to again account admin role, account admin, and then here it is in a worksheet, it will be still, you can able to see the developer. Right now still we are in a developer. So if you wanted to change, you can change it here. So if you wanted to change, or you wanted to go with another role, you can select another role. For every role which the newly created, they won't have any permissions. See this one, they won't have permissions to the database, they won't have permission to the schema, and then warehouse, they don't have any permission. Now let's change the role to, for example, use role. What is another role we have? Business, right? See this one. So now the role has been changed to business. Still, so all these roles, sorry, whatever the roles we have created, these roles we don't have any access, right? Now, the newly created roles, you need to give access to, you need to give grant permissions to databases, schemas, tables, as well as virtual warehouse. Then only that role can able to access the data. Otherwise, it is not. Now, let's observe how we can able to create it. So we have to give, let's create a table here. And then for this particular table, within we will use account admin role here, account admin. Just I'm changing the role to account admin. We change the role to the account admin. Now we can able to access these things. See this virtual warehouse and then all other databases. Now let's create a table. What we required is we will insert some data into this table, and then we will see the thing. So how we can able to see the data. If you observe here, this is account admin role, right? So now let's refresh it, and then employees information table. Let's go to that particular table, employees information table. When you check the data, employees information table, we have what is his department, employee working in which department, and employee what is the salary he is receiving, what is the salary they are receiving. These complete details we are having, right? Salary, what is the salary they are receiving, and then which department they belongs to, right? Now our requirement is we wanted to hide the salary information, department information, based on a specific roles, based on specific roles. But before that, whatever the role we have created, that role should have access to this particular table. Then only they can able to see the data, otherwise not, right? Now to give the access to this particular table, so what we have to do is we need to give grant permissions, grant select permissions for that particular specific table, whatever the table we have available. See this one, what we are going to do, grant select on table, grant select on table. So this is a, so table permission. Before that, so what we required is, so we required database permission, and then schema permission, and then virtual warehouse permission. Then only these particular roles which you created, they can able to access. Let's come in order. So first let's come to the database permission. So let's come to databases, grant usage. Observe this one. What is the condition we are giving? Grant usage on database. Database is class, right? Database is class. We are giving the database name as class. To role, observe this one, business analyst and developer. So for all the roles, grant usage on database, database name to the role business analyst and developer. So for all these things, so we are giving a permission, right? For all the roles we are giving permission. Now we have given permission to all the roles to access the database. Now we have given the permission to database, right? Now let's check use role to, I will change the role to developer, and then let's see. So what are the permissions they are having? Developer. Now changing the role to the developer. Now see this one. The developer role has been changed. Now refresh it here. See this. Now he got access to the particular database. But within the database, what you have access? The schemas, we don't have any access. This is a information schema. We don't have any access. It means the schema also we should give the access, right? Then only they can able to see. Now we are in a developer role. If you try to give access for the schema, see this one, whether it is going to accept it or not. So all these grant permissions you need to give only by using account admin privileges only. Now all these things, whatever the thing we are doing here right today, so these things will be taken care by. So sometimes like you are like a snowflake admin. Otherwise, every team will not have like separate admin. It will be given to the any senior persons. We need to understand clearly. So what are the permissions they are giving? What is the process? Now observe this one. Now developer role. I am trying to give grant usage for the schema with the developer role. See this one. See this developer role. It is so not allowing. So schema is public, right? Public. Now let's observe this with the public. See this not authorized, not exist or not authorized. So you cannot able to give it because what is the role you, so we are in now. So we are in the role of developer. Now let's change the role to the account admin. Change role to account admin. Here you can change or here you can change by the selections. Now account admin role we are in. Now let's observe this grant usage on schema to business. It's done, right? Same way for the analyst, for a developer. Now we have given the permission to the schema. We have given, when you give the permission to schema, these roles can able to access that particular schema only. But within the schema, you will have n number of tables, right? So for the tables also we need to give the permission, right? If you wanted to give the permission, let's come here. So to the tables, what we have to do is, so grant select on table. So to that particular table name, to the role. This is the table, right? Now we have given database permission, schema permission. So and then within the schema, for which table you should have access. So we need access to this particular table. Now observe this one. We're going to give grant select on table. So for the in employees information team schema employees information table to the role analyst, business, and then developer. Now we are giving the grant permissions. Now we have given, right? We have given the select permission to this particular table. So what we can do? So we can able to these roles, whatever the roles we have given, these roles can able to access that. Now let's change the role to, for example, developer, and then just observe. Now we have changed the role to the developer, right? Now refresh it. Now observe this one. We can able to access the database. We can able to access the schema. Within the schema, which table we have access? See this one, only one table we have access, employees info schema, sorry, employees info table, right? In the now we are in a developer. So if I wanted to try to see the data, see this one, you can able to see the data, right? If I wanted to do something on this, so let's say for example, select star from employees info, employees info. Let's try to run this. See this one, preview, fine, I can able to see that. Now if I am trying to run this, select star from this particular table, see this one, warehouse, warehouse not selected, no active warehouse selected. Why? So for this particular developer, we didn't assign it to any virtual warehouse. When you are working in, right? So we will have separate virtual warehouses for based on separate the groups. Like developers will have separate virtual warehouse, testers will have separate virtual warehouse, data loading activities we will use a separate virtual warehouse. Like that, you will have a different virtual warehouses, right? Now, if you observe here, see this one, I have a virtual warehouses, right? So there is no specific to do that. Now we need to give the permission to the virtual warehouse utilization also. We need to give permission. To give the virtual warehouse permission, what you are going to do, virtual warehouse name, grant usage on, grant usage on. Now observe this, grant usage on virtual warehouse. What is the virtual warehouse name we have? Dev virtual warehouse. Think Dev virtual warehouse or class. Not sure. Let me check. Let me change the role to the dev account admin. Dev virtual warehouse. Yeah, Dev virtual warehouse. So this is the virtual warehouse. To which virtual warehouse we should have access. Now the virtual warehouse access also I have given. What are the things we have done here? We created a role, we assign that role to the specific user, right? We assign the role to the specific user, then only the user can able to access that particular role. Then so whenever we have any access to the table, if you want access to the table, we should give the grant permission to database level, grant usage permission to the schema level, grant usage permission to the virtual warehouse, and then grant select permission for the table. Then
Do
only
we need to
you give,
follow any order in this?
yes, first a database, schema, and then table.
Okay. How about warehouse? Warehouse first we are supposed to give, or
Warehouse, virtual warehouse also we have to. If you give any like order, it will work. It's not a,
okay.
it doesn't matter. But
Okay.
easily remember, like a database, schema, and then tables. And then if you wanted to access the virtual warehouse, give the virtual warehouse access also. Here we have only one virtual warehouse, right? But generally we will have 3 to 4 virtual warehouses. So for which virtual warehouse you should give the grants, right? For that usage, so then that particular warehouse only we will give. Okay, now we have given all the things. Now once it is given, now let's check, so these particular roles can able to access the data or not. Now if you wanted to change, use role developer, changing the role to the developer. Now the developer role we have changed. Now let's observe this, select star from table, developer role. Yes, developer can able to see the data, but he can able to see salary as well as department, right? Okay, now let's change the role to the business. Now we are in a business role. Now let's check the data here. See this, business also can able to see the data. See this one, business, these guys also can able to see the data. Same way, so use the role to analyst. Now we are in a role of analyst. So now let's check the data here. Analyst also now can able to see the data. Now, our requirement is, so we wanted to hide that information. So based on specific, right? So roles. So specific roles, they should not able to see the data related to the any specific salary information, or they should not see the data related to department information. It means we wanted to hide the employee salary and then employee belongs to which department for the specific role. Based on the role only, you have to display that information. To do that, what we are going to do is we are going to approach data masking implementation. In data masking, what we need to do? Two steps. We have to create a masking policy based on the roles. We will create a masking policy for the specific roles. That's why we created a roles now. Then what is the next step? We need to apply the masking policy to the specific columns on a table. On table, right? These are the two steps what we need to do. Now let's observe this, how we are going to create masking policy. Now masking policies, right? When you are creating, again, you you have to create the masking policy only based on so account admin role only. You cannot able to create masking policy with the other roles. Only account admin only can able to create masking policies. Now let's observe this when we are creating masking policies. Now create masking policy here. So when we are creating a masking policy, so observe this how the things is we are doing. Create create masking policy. Observe this masking policy name. This is masking policy name. You can give any name here. There is no restriction. You can give any name here. Create or replace masking policy, masking name. As observe this one, we are giving
Hello.
value. Value as number. Any
Hello, sir.
questions? Any
What is
question?
meant by masking policy?
Masking policy, we wanted to hide that information for any specific table. We are creating a policy to hide any specific column details. That's why we are creating. Okay, let's
Okay.
observe this. You can understand. So now create policy. We are creating a masking policy. We wanted to mask the data. So masking means nothing but hiding, right? We wanted to mask the data. For that, we are creating a policy. So we are creating masking policy name is number, masking number. As we are giving value as a number. If value is number, nothing but, for example, salary here, this value is number, return number, return number. So only if it is number, you need to create a number masking policy. If it is string, we need to create string masking policy. The number and then string, so we cannot able to mix it. It will not work. Now, if it is a number, value is number, it should be return number. If you give string here, it will not work. Now, so observe the case statement. What you are giving condition case when your current role means nothing but account admin here, right? Now what is the current role? Account admin. If you change it to the developer, then current role will be developer, right? Now when the current role in business or account admin, if it is a current role is business or account admin, then only display the value, then only display the specific value. Otherwise, instead of that particular actual value, display the all the nines here. Display all nines. So you can give the stars also. It's up to us. And so this is the policy what we are creating. See this one, creating policy for the policy name. This is a policy name. Policy what you are mentioning, if your role is business or account admin, then only display the value. If otherwise your role is different, then display this all the nines, right? Display with the nines. So it is going to like a hide actual data. Now we created a policy for a number, right? Same way, now let's, once the policy is created, you need to apply that masking policy for specific column on a table. Now just we created, we didn't apply this policy on any column, right? Now let's apply that particular masking policy. To apply that, what you are going to do is, see this one, alter table. If this is the command, alter table. If exist, remember this, when you are working with a views, this if exist is not required. If exist is not required. Alter table. If exist, table name. So we are giving, and condition what you are giving, modify column. Modify column salary. Salary, what we are giving, salary column. If you observe employees information table, what is the column name? Salary column. Salary set policy which you have created. What is the policy which you have created? Masking number. The meaning of this is, we are creating, applying a masking number policy for this particular salary column on this particular table. We are applying masking policy for the salary column in this particular employee information table. Whatever the policy we created, it means it will check before giving the, before we are, when you are fetching the information from the table, it will check what is the role, with which role you are trying to access. If you are trying to access with account admin on business role, it will show you the actual value. Actual value, what is the value here? Otherwise it will show you this value. Now let's apply the masking policy. Later we will see that. Now see this one. We have applied the masking policy now. Policy is applied on a table. Applied for a column on a table. Now let's observe this. Now we are in account admin role. Now let's check the data. Account admin can able to see and change the role to the business. Business also we have given a permission, right? Now we are in the role of business. Now let's execute this. See this, business also can able to see the data. Then what about the, what are the other roles we have? Developer and analyst. Let's come to developer role. Developer role. Now you are logged in with a developer role. Now this is developer role. We logged in with developer role. If the developer role trying to access the data, see this, what we observed, developers cannot able to see the data, actual data they cannot able to see. It was hidden for them, right? The same way for analyst also we have given, right? We have, like, we didn't given the permission. Analyst, observe this. Now analyst, now we are in a analyst role. Now let's check the data here again. See this, analyst also they cannot able to see that information, right? So these guys cannot able to, analyst and developers, they cannot able to see the information other than these roles, like account admin and then business, they can able to see the information. The same way we wanted to hide department information also. For department column also we need department column. If you observe, this is a string, right? For department column, we wanted to create a separate masking policy for a string. Now observe this one. So now we are creating another masking policy. Now like this, you can create n number of masking policies. There is no restriction. But on a single column, you are going to create only one masking policy, not more than that. In a single column, you can create only one masking policy. Now observe this, create or replace masking policy. We are giving a masking policy name. And then if the value is string, return also string. And case, when the condition will be current role in business, developer, account admin, display the value. Developer also I don't want to give the, the information, right? Developer I don't want to display. So from which department the employee belongs to, right? I wanted to hide that information. Then only the business, and then, so again, so account admin we have given a permission. Now let's observe this one. We are creating a new masking policy. Now we are in an analyst, so it won't accept. So we have to change it to the account admin, account admin role. Now let's give this one, create a masking policy. Now we created masking policy, created masking policy. Fine. Now what we need to do? So once it is created, we need to apply that masking policy, right? For the specific column. So for a specific table. Now let's come here. What we are going to do is, see this, alter table, if exist, table name, modify column. Which column we wanted to apply? For department column. Set masking policy name. We are applying. Now when you are applying, so observe this, see this one, we have applied this masking policy. This is fine. Now if you change the role to analyst, see this one, we change the role to the analyst. Now let's check the data here. Can you able to see the department value here? What we have given in the condition, we have given stars instead of the value. See this one, we have given stars instead of value. It's up to us, right? So now, so analyst, they cannot able to see the salary information, they cannot able to see the employees belongs to which department. Other than that, they can able to see other information. The same way for developer also, we didn't given a permission, right? So let's change the role to the developer.
Can you restrict
Now
inserts and updates also for a specific user?
inserts and updates.
Updates.
We can give the like permissions for the specific role when you are creating for the user level, but the role level we will do that. The role we will assign to the specific user. That can be done. So now see this one. So what we are doing. So let's take the data for analyst, right? Sorry, for the developer. Developer also, what they cannot able to see the data, right? What about the others? Business and then account admin. Let's change it to the business. Now we are in a business role, right? Now let's observe the data here for the business. Business can able to see the data. And what about the account admin? Role to account admin. Account admin can able to see the data. Now observe this. Account admin can able to see the data, right? So what we have done to create masking policies. So what we have to done is, we have created a masking policy. We created a masking policy for a specific roles, right? For that purpose, what we have done, we have created a roles. Once the roles is created, that role should be assigned to specific user, right? Role has to be assigned to specific user. Once it is assigned to the specific user, role should have given grant permission. What is the so what are the grant permissions we required? Grant permissions for the database we required, grant permission for the schema we required, grant permission for the table we required, and at the same time we need a permission to virtual warehouse also. So once you have the permissions to this, then only the particular user, so whatever the user, the roles which we have assigned, they can able to so access the data, they can able to see that. This is the thing what we have done when we created a roles. After that, we created a masking policy. Once we created a masking policy, then we have applied that masking policy to the specific column on a table, right? Once it is applied, only the specific roles only can able to access the data. Others, they cannot able to access. Now, so this is so how the things will work. But here, so let's see in the next session how to alter masking policy. If you wanted to unset the masking policy we created, now I don't wanted to give this like a hiding, right? I wanted to like display that information to developer. It means I wanted to unset that masking policy. How to do that? How I wanted to alter, or I wanted to recreate the masking policy. The same thing, if I wanted to create a masking policy for a view, so how to implement it? So all these things we will see that in the next session, guys. So today what we have done, we created a roles, the roles. So we assign to the specific users. Then we assign that like a roles once it assigned, we given the grant usage permission to the database, the usage permission to the schema, and then table. Then we have given the virtual warehouse. Once we have given, then we created a masking policy. We applied that masking policy. The numbers one masking policy, and then strings one masking policy. You can create different masking policy with the different conditions. That is acceptable. That is acceptable. It's up to us. So once you created where and all this policy has been applied, if you wanted to see, we can able to see that also. That information, all this information, altering like a renaming and then unsetting masking policy, everything we will see that in the next session, guys. We will stop it here. Let's come to the questions. First we'll come to the chat window. Only the number column in a string. Yeah. So if you wanted to do that, we have the partial masking policy option is there. So Teja, we will see that with the example. I will show you in the next session. We will see that. Yeah, that is a syntax. So for time travel and then masking policy, that is a syntax. We have to provide the same way.
How to provide read-only access for a object?
When you are using select permission, right? That will be nothing but a read-only permission.
Suppose if we want to give write that time.
Write permissions, so we have to like give, I think, grant usage we have to give.
Grant usage will provide the
Yes. Yeah.
right.
Yeah. How to partial mask data? Yes, a partial masking, we will see that the topic is there. I will show you, Sital. Yeah, next session I will show you how to implement the masking, partial masking policy. Can we create process using PLSQL as well? Can we create packages? Create in Oracle. Yeah, yes, Rakesh, we can able to like create a procedures and then the functions that is possible in from like, but with utilizing the JavaScript language or SQL language, there is a two multiple different options. Like we can use JavaScript language, or we can use PySpark, or we can use Python, or we can use SQL. So different languages is there. We will see that. Any other questions?
So for each data type, we have to create a masking policy.
Each data type, no, it's not like that generally. So you can come to string. If it is a specifically number, we can give it a number. So another like a strings, it's a combination of string and number. Then we can, so by default you can go with a string. There will be two things. One is string and one is number. Yeah.
Okay. So is there an option to hide the column completely instead of changing the values? So if I don't want to
Hiding,
display salary
uh,
column at all, so is that option available?
no, that option is not available.
So where we can find how many masking policies available for that for a specific table?
We can able to do that. The specific table we cannot find. Where and all the masking policies has been applied, we can able to see that. Once the masking policy is created, then we can able to see all the masking policies from the information schema. I will show you that also. So in the next session. Anyway, I have uploaded these particular documents, right? The series one. So you can able to see that. So finding masking policy, we have time, we can able to see. So where and all we can able to see information policy schema references. That is the table. And then so someone asked a partial masking policy. This is the example. These are the things we will discuss in the next session. How to hide a partial masking policy, how to create a partial masking policy, and like the remaining things like alter all these things we are going to discuss in the sessions here.
Um,
So one question.
Example, we will see that, Siva. Yeah, we will see that where we have a topic for that Python also. So we will see that in the discussions. Yeah, I will give you the complete information in around yeah, working with Python in session 27 we have. Yes, Vipin, tell me.
Yeah, so we are making this masking condition on base of the roles. So can we add data condition along with the roles? For instance, if the so-and-so column has, let's say, HR. So I want to assign role condition only if the data is on some data condition as well. Can we do that?
Yes, yes, that is also possible. Only the specific roles we can, I mean, only the specific region or only the specific the condition. Yes, that is possible. That we
So
will
multiple
call it as a
condition we can
role.
apply, right?
Yes, we can apply that. We will call it as a row level masking policy. That is also possible.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, Dinesh.
Yes, Mohan.
So, can we like use integrate any third-party tokenization things to Snowflake?
Third-party tokenization, not
Which means
sure
like
about that,
like
but
a gatekeeper or something like that. So,
understand. So by default, it will be enabled when they configure TSL and SSL certificates will be enabled when transferring the data. But third-party tokenization, not sure, Mohan. But that option is there, but we have never like implemented. So let me cross-check this one.
okay.
External tokenization, it is available, Mohan. Seems. Yeah. But I think API integration should be required, I think, for this.
Okay.
Yeah, you can just cross-check this once.
Yeah, sure. I'll go through the documentation.
Yeah. Thank you.
So basically, some data-centric companies, they do like beyond just like masking policy, something like that, right?
Yes.
When they deal with most PIA most of the time, so the credit bureaus or something.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, guys. Thank you. See you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Bye.